All right, let's turn our attention to GAA because the GAA today announced a 2-week break in all GAA matches across all codes. They've been put on hold after that government announcement. Alan Milton, Director of Communications with Cumann Lucas Gale, is on the line. Evening, Alan.
Hi, Nathan. How are you?
Very well. Well, I guess after Leo Varadkar's announcement earlier today that all indoor gatherings of more than 100 people and outdoor gatherings of more than 500 people should be cancelled, that this was a very straightforward decision for the GAA?
Well, there's been a lot of soul searching over recent weeks. We've been liaising with the HSE, as we've said all along. They're the experts, the medical experts in this. We're not. And it's a fast-moving situation. But you're right, a game changer for us as an organisation was when the schools were closed, because I don't think you could justifiably expect parents to send their young children, or indeed children of any age, to a training session or match situation when they weren't being entrusted to go into a school environment. I think for the wider benefit of society, I think it was a prudent call to make, and I just hope it has a positive impact on the public health of the nation.
And it's not just matches either, it's training sessions at club level, inter-county level, educational level, team gatherings. I guess all club gatherings you want suspended for the next couple of weeks.
Yes, anything game related is the inference from our release. So, you know, we haven't told clubs that they must shut down their bars, for example, or social centres. But obviously, there's a mention of 100 people gathering in those social centres. So that will be up for clubs to police themselves, and we would expect them to be diligent in that regard. I do know a lot of clubs have cancelled everything, especially bigger events where there might be the potential to have more than 100 people. But primarily, from our perspective, the focus was on games, and we had a very busy inter-county weekend coming up. So I think we needed clarity at the earliest opportunity, and that was the thinking behind the release. So it would have been quite odd, I think, in my opinion, to ask people to come to Croke Park on Sunday. We probably would have been expecting a crowd in the region of 25,000 people. Also on Tuesday we had 2 under-20 football semi-finals, probably a smaller crowd, but nonetheless asking people to come in what has become quite a morbid and eerie atmosphere just jarred with us as an organisation. We don't know how long this will last, but we do know that we'll be able to take stock over the next fortnight, and it will probably bring clarity, and a clarity that was required not just for our members but for the wider public in terms of I don't think it would have been well received if people were travelling from the four corners of Ireland to come to games when there's so much important stuff happening, much more important than Gaelic games.
Have you received any indication as to whether this will just be a 2-week period of suspension or whether you can expect a longer period?
No, we're going to keep in touch as we have done from the get-go. We've been across this for over 3 weeks now. We'll take our advice and our lead from the experts in the department. There was a briefing today in government buildings at 3:30. I don't expect that there'll be any crystal ball gazing. I don't expect they'll be able to tell beyond the next 2 weeks either. I am aware of the school calendar, and there is a possibility that things could drift further. We can't speculate in that regard. What we will do over the coming days is sit down and discuss, as we have been, the possible ramifications and indeed the various contingency plans, and look at the weekends in the GAA calendar. We can only try and control what's in the remit of the GAA, not the wider societal issues that are at play here.
Everybody agrees, obviously, that the public health is the most important consideration in all this. But in terms of the GAA calendar, have you had time yet to come around to the ramifications for the calendar? Will you get to play the rest of the national leagues when things get back up and running again? Or is there a possibility actually the leagues may end up just being cancelled and you go straight to championship?
We certainly hope they won't be cancelled, but again, that will very much depend on if 2 weeks becomes a longer period of time, and we just can't say at this moment. So I think it'd be foolhardy for us to plan or put all our eggs in the 2-week basket and then find out that this is going to be pushed out to 4, 5 or 6 weeks or beyond, who knows. So I can't give you an answer to that question because I don't believe there is one. But what we will do is we will look at, if it is only 2 weeks, we definitely feel that we can be creative, and with the cooperation of our various different internal stakeholders, you could definitely make inroads and try and remedy the situation. But the situation is too fluid at the moment to be definitive on that one.
I think, and I hope, that everybody over the last 48 hours has come to terms with the seriousness of this outbreak. And I think what's become clear is that as a community that people need to come together through this, and I guess that's something that the GAA will be focusing on with this suspension, that people follow through on this, that obviously there's going to be no club games, there's not going to be no inter-county games, but also that there are no training sessions, that there isn't, that people are taking this serious enough that there's no, well, let's just get together, lads, on a Tuesday night and have a quick run around.
No, I think compliance is absolutely massive in this regard, and I think people need to take ownership of what we've tried to deliver. We can't police that from Croke Park, but we like to think we've got very responsible people at every level of the organisation, on committees and not on committees. It's really up to them to step up to the plate. I think situations such as this bring out the best in people. I think it will be for the common good, and especially for those members of our communities who are on the margins or maybe weak and vulnerable. I think we owe it to them, and as a society, I sincerely hope we all pull together. If this small gesture goes some way in helping in that process, it will have been worthwhile. But I'd like to think that most people will see the rationale behind this. It's been done for the right reasons. Of course, it's a small inconvenience, but when you think of what we're dealing with here, this is, as I've already said, this is bigger than sport, and it has the potential to be a whole lot bigger and a whole lot worse if people don't clue into the severity or the potential severity of the situation as it unfolds.
Have you had an opportunity over the last couple of weeks to assess what the economic impact of this
to be honest with you, Nathan, it hasn't entered our thought process whatsoever. Of course, there's going to be an inconvenience, not least for the legion of volunteers, club coaches that are employed around the country. But the GAA will get through this. It always does. Again, we can't estimate or we can't calculate the overall or the full impact of it because we just don't know the duration of it. But it wasn't uppermost in our thoughts, and arrangements will be put in place to ensure that the GAA gets through this as an organisation, not just for our volunteers, our Legion of Volunteers, but for the people who work for the GAA as well.
Alan, very good to take the call. Obviously, the GAA, while a sporting organisation, a huge outlet as well for a number of people socially, and particularly for a number of elderly people who aren't going to have that outlet now and won't want that outlet now, and you hope that the community do come together over the coming weeks.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, I'm sure people will be, especially those of a nostalgic dint, will be looking out for perhaps reruns of games on our. It's something we're discussing on our own platforms at the moment, is whether or not, if people are stuck at home, perhaps we can assist by creating content or sharing old content that will engage people. But look, you just hope that the wider society across sport will pull together, play a role in it, and hopefully in a few months' time we'll be looking back and agreeing that this was the right thing to do, and that hopefully the country will come out of it at the right end, and not just the country but society at large.
All right, Alan Milton, Director of Communications with the GAA. Thanks a lot for taking the call.
Thanks, Nathan. All the best.